beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. Namaste.
And so it is. The topic today is the world is an oyster. What is your dream? To choose the oyster with the biggest pearl? I've long had a dream of being part of a loving, joyful relationship. Every day I wished my husband would be more supportive. I felt sad because I had married the wrong man. If he would be more supportive of my ideas, the projects I thought about, my frustrations with others, my feelings of being ignored, the list could go on and on. If he would support me, be my cheerleader, love me no matter what, then I would be happy. Happiness moved further away over the years, and I became more desperate and frustrated. My dream was turning into a nightmare. The irritation infiltrated every aspect of my life. Eventually, I got a new husband. And it worked. For the honeymoon stage, at least. It wasn't long before I started having some of the same hurt feelings. If he was this, I would be happier. If he was that, I could enjoy life, etc. I wanted a loving husband. What was the problem? I kept seeing monster phantoms, as Ernest Holmes called the old self-defeating thought patterns. They came from me only. I don't think you should be allowed to sit in the front row. He says, Ernest Holmes says, take the case of a person who feels no one likes him. Just think of the monster that he creates in his own mind through his feelings of being rejected. He looks at his fellow man and imagines that they do not like the way he wears his clothes, the way he walks, the way he talks. He feels they are criticizing him in their own mind. The fact is that his own morbid dreams are putting negative ideas into the minds of everyone he meets. For, and I find this fascinating, there is a mental contact we have with others which registers in them. The dreamer who feels that he is unliked is blinded by the monsters of his own mind, and he does not realize that everyone around him is simply responding to the way he feels. He does not know the phantom of hostility which he encounters is in his own mind and actually follow the dictates of his own thought. These thought patterns can become obsessive to the point we go around imagining everyone is against us. Yet, upon awakening, we discover the phantom monster was our own imagination. And so it is with most of our troubles. Yet there remained a part within each of us, and this is always there, that can awaken to the unreality of most things that bother us, referring to the still small voice within, the voice of truth. As I learned science of mind, my thinking patterns began to change. I realized if I wanted a nurturing husband, perhaps I should be more nurturing and also see him as a nurturing person. I could focus on the energy of love. I could have appreciation for the efforts he makes. I could look toward the light of love and compassion, leaving the phantoms behind, while walking towards the positive attributes that I desired. My relationships improved immediately. My hope and beliefs started to match my desires. Life was full of satisfying, comfortable, enriching possibilities. I thought about and felt love. I let go of fear. The pearl I discovered was in the shell of science of mind. We watch fascinating videos and read books, and they're all good, don't get me wrong, that include new discoveries based on ancient languages, new technology, DNA deciphering, and studies on exactly how cells react to their environment, only to discover the essence of science of mind is in the results. Everything I need to know to live a good life is contained within the guidance of Ernest Holmes. When a new morning arrives, and it always does, I am uplifted by the bright light of the sun coming to warm the new day. Appreciation wraps her arms around me. Love comes to warm my heart. Belief in the good of life stands beside me. I take a deep breath and walk into the new day, ready to share love and joy as my cup overflows. I found the biggest pearl of all. Thank you. Namaste.
Well, today for special music, we have a very special treat. I want to introduce a guest musician who is here very last minute, but I'm so very grateful that he is. He and his wife are the stars of a reality show, Alaska, The Last Frontier. And you may have seen him on YouTube performing alongside his daughter, Jewel. Please welcome Mr. Kilcher.
We could have a problem here today, because when an entertainer gets up, who is also the son of a politician, you may have to do one of those, what was it, the Gong Show, where somebody on side stage kind of hooks and pulls you off stage. So I'll let my friend Peter there give me the high sign when he thinks I've carried on too long. I'm very touched by what Melinda said. Where did she go? Over there. What a rare experience for me. It's like time travel. Only yesterday I knew Melinda in the 5th grade. I know where she's from. I know what her home was like. I know all the places she could have ended up, could have gone. Instead, she ended up right here wearing that something or another, whatever it is around her neck, which indicates some kind of royalty or position or something. What a privilege to jump ahead from meeting her at 10 years of age to now 39. Now, even back then, now today she's a practitioner. I guess that's why she gets that thing around her neck. But even in 5th grade, she was a practitioner. Now, I was a homestead boy, and she also knows where I'm from. She knows my childhood, and she also knows where I could have ended up and all the side roads I take. You know, she's a beginner. She's only been married twice. I was married 5 times. My beautiful wife number 5, I'm very proud of her. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, just as I am proud of what Melinda has accomplished. Homestead boy, raggedy clothes, holes in my jeans that today are quite in fashion. Seems like the more holes you have in your jeans, the more fashionable you are. But back then I was ashamed of it. Didn't have socks that matched. Always wore cowboy boots so nobody could see my socks. One day I wore low-cut shoes. Melinda could see that my socks didn't match. Next day, little 5th grade girl brings me a pair of socks. So even back then, she had that goodness in her that took her to where she is today. Give Melinda a hand, please. So suddenly here we are. Whatever age we're at, we're here. We're in a pretty good place. Some of us have traveled farther. Some of us have fallen down and gotten up more times than others. But we're here because we've all gotten back up and gotten to a better place. She asked me before the service if it's okay if I was introduced as Jules' father. And I told her, you know, there was a time in the early 90s when I was much younger and my ego was much larger when it pissed me off. I hope the practitioner won't fire me for foul language here. To only be known as Jules' daughter. But when Melinda asked me that, here's what I said to her. In her house yesterday, I opened a big book, and it said in there, why is it that only the Pope and the Dalai Lama are referred to as His Holiness? We all have holiness in us. We all should think of ourselves as our holiness. So when she said, do you mind if I introduce you as Jules' dad? I said, no, I know who I am. I'm His Holiness. I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit cocky, but I also say that because I'm trying it on. I'm trying to learn to believe that I'm got just as much good stuff in me as the Dalai Lama or the Pope. My mom passed away in '96, beautiful woman, pioneer, raised 8 kids in a log cabin with a very temperamental, moody, an abusive husband. Wonderful, brilliant, bright, and abusive. A lot of stuff that he didn't know how to process. Beautiful woman, gave us a love of music, and shortly before she passed away, I was looking across Kachemak Bay at the beautiful mountains over there. Sun was shining, and it was one of those moments like I just felt such gratitude, such happiness. And this song I can take no credit for. It just kind of plopped right out of those beautiful clouds. I'm sure that to most of you, I look fairly able-bodied. I'm down to almost 0 hearing. It's hard to talk when you're not sure how you're hearing me, because I hear myself totally different. Going to be getting cochlear implants, and then that'll be a whole new adventure and challenge to learn how to talk and hear myself differently. So when Melinda asked if I'd sing today, my first response was no way. I don't play guitar anymore. I can't hear my guitar to sing on pitch. I'm singing away, and pretty soon my guitar is in one key and I'm in another key. So I always think it's the guitar that's drifted. But it's me. We can always blame that husband we had that was and then we can blame the new husband we had. I can blame the guitar, or I can say, no, it's me. So I decided, okay, it's okay to get out of your comfort zone sometimes And because with the guitar, I feel at home. Doesn't matter how many people are in front of me. But boy, without a guitar, I feel kind of like I'm naked. So this song is for my mama. I don't consider myself religious. I'm not even sure if I believe in God, but I consider myself a spiritual person. I meet fans of the show from around the world, and they talk to me and say, I can tell you're a religious person, and they tell me about their religion, and then they ask me, so what religion are you? And I say, well, I belong to the Church of the Bald Eagle and the Cottonwood Tree. And they look at me like, what kind of kook is this? I've been watching him all these years on TV. And I thought he was I say, well, but I believe I'm just as spiritual as you are. And then we exchange spiritual beliefs and we get to a common ground. Don't matter if you're called a Catholic or a practitioner or what, right? Doesn't matter. It's what we believe. So this song I can't really take any credit for. These moments of pleasure, joys beyond measure, these times I treasure, I'm never alone. With each new sunrise, I gaze into God's eyes, and I pray that my path lies on safe stepping stones. With each new daybreak and every choice I make, and every trail I take leads me closer to you. I stay on the safe way, I don't stray from the gateway. And those who are great say, to thine own self be true. Reach out your hand, this time I won't turn away. I'm but a man, and sometimes I have gone astray. Take me in and open your sweet door of grace. I've waited a lifetime to see the light of your face. And at this point in my songwriting, I thought, now what am I talking about? I see God's face, and I've waited a lifetime to see the light of your face. I just quit worrying. I just let the flow keep flowing. The last light is going, soft shadows showing, candles keep glowing, warming the night, shining and shifting like soft sand sifting. My love is lifting into the light. Reach out your hand, this time I won't turn away. I'm but a man, and sometimes I have gone astray. Take me in and open your sweet door of grace. I've waited a lifetime to see the light of your face. I've waited a lifetime to see the light of your face. So when that song finished, and I recorded it in my heart and my mind and on some paper, I knew it was a big moment for me. It's only since then, in the last maybe 30 years, that I realized it was just a beginning awakening of something spiritual that I knew would help me along my way. Probably where all of you guys are at. Thank you.
Thank you, Os. I had the pleasure of meeting Os and Bonnie when John and I visited Melinda and Peter in Homer, and he yodeled for us, and it was just amazing. So I still remember that, Os. It's been quite a few years, but I remember it, and I thank you so much for sharing your heart with us this morning. Well, good morning. We're continuing our theme, Curiosity is a Superpower. And as Melinda said, our topic this morning is The World is an Oyster. And keep in mind that we're using the themes and topics from our journal for this year. So I didn't come up with this. It's not mine. And it wasn't easy either. But the original quote about the world being an oyster actually comes from Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor, when Falstaff tells Pistol that he won't lend him a penny, and Pistol replies, "Why, then the world's mine oyster, which I with sword will open." So Pistol is actually telling Falstaff to give him money or he's going to use his sword. So it's not kind of a good way to start a spiritual lesson, maybe. So let's go right to the pearl. Because a pearl is formed when a grain of sand slips in between the mantle and the shell of an oyster. And it creates an irritation to the mantle. And to protect itself, the oyster then carefully coats the grain layer by layer with what's called the mother of pearl. It's a mineral substance that's used to create the shell. And eventually, with enough layers, a beautiful pearl forms. So our takeaway here is that the oyster has everything it needs inside itself to transform an irritant into a pearl. And the same is true for us. So that's where we're going to begin this morning. And you know, we're talking about an irritant or a divine discontent, then we've got to be talking about Joseph Campbell. One of my favorite people. But he gave us a pearl of great price when he outlined what he called the monomyth, or the hero's journey that's found in every culture. We find it in our films, we find it in all of the stories of transformation. We find it in our fairy tales even. But it's ultimately a singular story that spreads around cultures. It is our story. And the first step of the hero's journey is departure. And it begins, like the pearl, with an irritant. Something happens that calls us out of our ordinary life. The irritant in The Wizard of Oz is Elmira Gulch, who claims Dorothy's dog bit her and has authorization to have him euthanized. So Dorothy has to leave to protect her dog. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, a farm boy from the planet Tatooine, is pulled from obscurity into his journey when two droids appear in his life carrying a message from a mysterious princess. Harry Potter's journey begins when letters from Hogwarts School rain down on his home, and Hagrid comes to find out why he hasn't responded to them. But something will call us to begin this journey. And then the next step is initiation. And that's when we begin to interact with this new world. You know, it is Dorothy opening her eyes to this colorful, beautiful world and saying, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And it's here that we find a mentor, someone who's going to watch out for us as we find our way. So Dorothy meets Glinda the Good Witch, who shows Dorothy the yellow brick road that she must follow if she's to complete her journey, and she presents her with the ruby slippers that will protect her. Harry Potter meets the headmaster Dumbledore, and his training begins as a wizard, just as Luke begins training as a Jedi Master under his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You and I are the hero of our own journey, but along that journey we meet our own mentors, helpers, and friends, and they become an integral part of the story of our lives. Helpers, or allies, as Joseph Campbell calls them, are another group of people that we meet on our journey. These are people who are going the same direction as we are and want something similar to what we want. Dorothy's allies were the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. They all wanted something from the wizard, so they teamed up. Safety in numbers. Harry Potter had Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. Luke Skywalker had Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. So we've all had, you and I, if we step back in time, as Oz was talking about Melinda in 5th grade, we've all had helpers along the way. And if we step back in time and watch, where did they appear? Who were these helpers that got us through some difficult times? And finally, we have our friends, and these are the people who love us no matter what. They may have very different dreams and goals than we do, but we have found things that we truly love about each other, and a connection's been made. Our lives and hearts become entwined, and we know our friends will be at our side, even in times that we are hurting or that we're doing something really stupid. You know, they're there. In A Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell writes, "Furthermore, we have not even to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all times have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path. And where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. Where we had thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. Where we had thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. Where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world." This is probably my favorite statement by Joseph Campbell. So ultimately, the hero finds that it is not in slaying the dragon or retrieving the golden fleece or the Holy Grail that is the ultimate reward of the journey. We learn, you and I learn, that it's not the job or the big house or the fancy car that we worked so hard for. The physical journey reconnects the hero to a fuller sense of self, and therefore the real treasure with which she or he returns is the authenticity that is necessary to living a life that matters, and to live that life both personally and as a world citizen. So the hero returns from the journey with a spiritual self-reliance, the ability to walk in those two worlds that we've been talking about off and on for the last years. So today I want to kind of break down this quote and talk about a little bit in depth. Where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. The definition of abomination is something or someone we detest or hate. And the definition of God, one definition, is an adored or admired or influential person. The transformed hero that has been on his journey and comes back does not judge by appearances, but looks beyond them into the other's heart. You know, it's in the Beauty and the Beast, it's Belle dropping her disgust of the beast. And at that point, she's able to see beyond a vile creature into the love that is the truth of his being. And so it's her own transformation and love that reverses the spell that was placed on the prince. Joseph Campbell tells us, where we had thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. And perhaps the best example to explain this statement can be found in the original Star Wars movie. Luke Skywalker, under the tutelage of Yoda, must enter the dark cave. And Yoda says that place is strong with the dark side of the Force. A domain of evil it is, in you must go. And Luke asks, what's in there? And Yoda answers, only what you take with you. So the evil that's in the cave, is really the shadow side of Luke. So when we seek to slay something outside of ourselves, we're going to conquer, we're going to win this, it's the inner turmoil that we are actually slaying. Melinda put it so beautifully today. It's our own shadow side that we have to confront and defeat. And that becomes the point of opening ourselves to our true self. And anyone who's ever overcome depression or addiction or any kind of a dark night of the soul has slain a dragon of his or her own shadow side. And again, the quote from Campbell, where we had thought to travel outward, we will come to the center of our own existence. You know, it's easier when we are older to see that everything we thought we did to be successful, to get ahead, to make a name for ourselves, have all been the prelude to the journey that we are now on. The journey of that spiritual enlightenment is what Alex was talking about. Our outer rewards and accomplishments have led us back to the center of our own existence. And we find that to live a life that matters, we have to know both of these worlds and to walk comfortably in both of them. And the final statement of Joseph Campbell's quote is, and where we had thought to be alone, we will be with all the world. Our spiritual quest begins being all about us, you know. We want to find that peace. We want, you know, I don't know about you, but well, I can remember starting science and mind classes, and I wanted to make my life better. It was totally about me. But the truth is, we can't find all of this and not share it. We bring our own transformation to the world of the everyday. In the television series, The Power of Myth, Bill Moyer says to Joseph Campbell, unlike heroes such as Prometheus or Jesus, we're not going on our journey to save the world, but to save ourselves. And Campbell replies, but in doing that, you save the world. The influence of a vital person vitalizes. There's no doubt about it. When we are transformed, we automatically transform everything around us. George Bailey felt that the bank he had to run was an albatross that kept him from realizing his dreams. When he finally comes back after receiving his wish that he'd never been born, he isn't the same man who left. Surrounded by friends and family, George's younger brother shares a toast to my brother George, the richest man in town. By assisting her friends, the Scarecrow to find wisdom, the Tin Man to find love, the Lion to find courage, Dorothy returns to Kansas with all of those qualities within herself. She has incorporated them. And while she may continue to live with Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, like George Bailey, her home will never be the same because she is not the same. Joseph Campbell says that we don't have to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all time have gone before us. So for me, finding those elements of the hero's journey has helped me see my own, and I trust that the same is for you, that we can look back and realize that what we thought was something horrible turned out to be exactly what we needed for our heart to be opened. So that now when we encounter something similar, we know what to look for in order for that abomination to become a god. And finally, what we first thought was our personal spiritual unfoldment becomes a shared experience. And that's what we're doing with our pledge campaign, you know. You and I together as a spiritual family take that shared experience to the streets, not just here, although we do it here very well, but we take it to the streets, not because we have a mandate to do so, but because a personal transformation automatically expresses outward. so you and I can use the elements of the hero's journey to understand our own. And while we may have ordeals to encounter, we will be able to face them with the spiritual confidence of knowing that everything we need is already within us. And like the oyster, from the inner substance, we create the pearls of our own life. Thank you. Namaste.
So, there is a congregational song today. However, you guys already sang today. Mm-hmm. Is it okay if I sing for you instead?
Please.
Okay. All right. Mama, if you want to sit down, you can. Please sit if you need to sit. I don't want you to feel put out. All right. So, why am I looking for a chart for this song? I wrote it, for goodness sake. All right. So, here's the deal, all right. The deal is, I gotta find the correct piano. All right, I like that one. So, you guys may remember this song from 2018. Spirit's working within me to vibrate good in this land. But if I wait to jump in the circle, will the cards all stay in my hand? So I listen and I read and I study about how to do it all just right. Gotta make sure that I'm convenient. Ease my way in the spotlight. This is why I needed the chart. But if I stay quiet, then what will get done? Not speaking up doesn't help anyone. This is my rebirth. This is the joy in learning my place on the earth. This is the time, if not now, then when? You can't have a journey if you don't begin. Here comes the verse that I love, and the reason that I chose this song for today. When you follow your rainbow, there may not be any gold, but look down from the top of the ark. There's so much joy to behold. The world is your oyster, so don't be a crab. The brass ring is there, just reach out and grab. This is your rebirth. This is the joy in learning your place on the earth. This is the time. If not now, then when? You can't have a journey if you don't begin. This is your rebirth. This is the joy in learning your place on the
time. If not now, then when? You can't have a journey if you don't begin.
Thank you. Namaste.
Perfect. Just perfect. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Okay, we're running a little over. Sorry about that. But we don't do it too often, so. So once you join me, it's time for our offering. So once you join me in our offering affirmation on the left-hand side of your bulletin. My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And thank you for your generosity that allows us to be a beneficial presence in this community. And keep those pledges coming. If you haven't pledged already, this is your chance to do so. We do this every year, and it's just a reminder that this center wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So I don't like the idea of getting up and telling you how broke we are and how much we need money. I would much rather tell you how joyful we are and that we are filled with abundance. And that's what I believe to be the truth of you and of me and of our center here. So it is. Okay, and speaking of so it is, let's close this portion out in prayer. Please join us for refreshments, and don't forget to shop at Ooh La La and the drumming circle after that. And practitioners, we've got a meeting over in the meditation room, okay? So let's just take a moment to know right now that there is one divine power and presence. And this divine power and presence expresses through us, through our thoughts, through our beliefs, through our ideas. And so as we come forth this day and each day with a healthy, beautiful curiosity, with the wonderment of each moment, of the miracle in a grain of sand, of the joy in a bird in the bird bath. All those things are reminders that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual world. And as the more we know of that, the more we express that, and the more we take that to the streets. And this is what heals each other, ourselves, and this is what heals the world. I am so grateful that we are here together today to experience this healing presence and to know that it is all good and very good, as we say together, and so it is. Thank you. May we stand and sing Stand.
So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand.